Imagine walking into a fortress of cash, bulletproof doors, and cameras everywhere. Now picture an employee who sees all the chinks in the system. Alan Pace did just that. Having been fired on the eve of his big heist, he and his friends still managed to pull off one of the largest cash robberies in history. How did they do it? Find out here. It's a group of friends who have never been in trouble with the law before, but they're going to try to pull off a robbery. Their target's not a bank, but rather the place that supplies them with their cash, Dunbar Armored Depot. In comparison with the bank, there is less security here. In return, there is significantly more cash. From the moment one enters, there is an advanced alarm system, and inside over 20 different surveillance cameras. In addition, it has bullet-resistant doors at the front in the vault preparation area with an 18 unbreakable vault. There is enough security here to deter most ordinary criminals. But 28-year-old Alan Pace is no criminal. He actually works among millions in cash and sees chinks in Dunbar's security. In fact, the heist is masterminded by none other than Pace himself. He is assigned to inspect and maintain the trucks, so he works at the Dunbar storage facility all the time, observing the routines. And what better way to plan a robbery than to learn about security? Pace also picks up some useful information on how he might heist the Dunbar millions from his girlfriend, Tamiko Khan's, also employed at the Dunbar facility managing video security equipment. Not long after, she is suddenly fired under suspicion of theft. A little while later, both Alan's friend and girlfriend become jobless. This could be building up some hostility between Alan and upper management. By now, Pace really wants to make his dream a reality. But if he's going to pull off the heist of a lifetime, he'll need guys he trusts with his life. He needs the right crew. His first pick would be his best friend, Eugene Hill. They've known each other for a long time, and they've worked together as security officers at different venues. But to pull this off, Pace is going to need a bigger team. He meets up with a couple of buddies in the parking lot after church and lays out his plan. Pace draws a rough layout of the facility. He diagrams what each of them will be doing and where and which steps they must take to avoid security cameras. In this, Pace exudes an enormous amount of confidence that proved contagious. Two more of his friends agree to risk everything for a colossal score. One of the guys brought in early on is Freddie McCreary Jr., a security guard at a church who happens to be a very close friend of Pace's. The two of them have known each other since they were 10. Next up is Terry Brown. Pace started a security company with Brown and McCreary. Now he has a crew of 3 people he can trust. So this is how Alan envisions it all going down. They will take the freeway, stash the second car a few blocks from Dunbar, then all ride in the rental truck to the depot, letting themselves in with Alan's key. They'll avoid all the security cameras since he knows all their positions. They will time it so that they go in during his lunch break, since there is only one security guard on duty. They must get into the vault prep area fast enough to get the dispatcher before he hits the panic button. Then they subdue all of the employees in the building, grab the money and throw it all into a truck to drive away. Remember, in and out before anybody knows what happened. Pace refines this plan, knowing his crew is going to need some help with the guards. And that is where Thomas Johnston comes in. He is also friends with some of the guys and did security as well. Alan Pace is feeling really good about his plan. A few more weeks get the guys in shape, knock off a few seconds of entry time, and by late September, they will be ready to pull it off. Long story short, here it is, the pieces are in place. The team is set. Upper management calls up and fires Pace. His entire plan is contingent upon them sneaking in with his key, and he turns in his keys. What that does is hasten the plan a little bit. Pace calls his right-hand man, Eugene Hill, and tells him to rent the U-Haul. He lets the others know it's go time. One man remains with the truck to keep an eye on the guard because inside the vault prep room, they might be outnumbered. Pace realizes he needs another guy. That is when he calls Eric Boyd. Since Boyd has not been training like the rest, Boyd would man the U-Haul until they secure the building. That night, they go to a party in Long Beach. By around 11 o'clock p.m., the 5 step away from the party unnoticed. 2 jump into Hill's sedan, while the other 4 jump into the rented U-Haul truck. The adrenaline at its utmost as they drive off to the facility, and this was going to be their biggest job ever. On Pace's count, the heist begins. They slip past security cameras. They get to the lunchroom, out of sight, and they wait for an armored guard's arrival. They bind him, remove his revolver, and take the keys to the vault. Pace looks for employees in the office through bulletproof glass, grab the dispatcher before he can slam the alarm. They subdue the employees in the vault, forcing them down to the floor, yelling to make sure everyone has been accounted for. One of the women yelps in pain. She has been shoved down a little too hard. Pace tries to comfort her with, "Don't worry, baby." Now that all the money counters are accounted for, it's time to get down to business. They immediately jump on the radio and let the driver, Eric Boyd, out in the U-Haul know to back the truck into the loading area so they can begin loading the bags of cash into the U-Haul. As Boyd is backing up the truck to the loading dock, he accidentally rolls through and cracks a taillight. With the team focused on the cash, no one notices. They take the cash in plastic shrink wrap and put it into garbage bags before putting the bags in bins. They wheel the bins to the U-Haul truck, and now it's go time. They got to get as much money as they can as quickly as possible. Inside this vault, there's close to $65 million to $70 million, all $20 bills. The crew knows they can't leave any kind of incriminating videotape behind, so they make their way back to the guard room and retrieve the VCR and tapes. Now the crew is set to make their big getaway. All 6 men escape without a hitch from the Dunbar depot. They go to Hill's apartment to stash the guns and gear and change back into their party clothes. 90 minutes later, they're ready to return to the party and nail down rock-solid alibis. The robbery is followed instantly by the Los Angeles police and FBI. 4 hours later, the police look for evidence that turns up with the plastic lens of a taillight that does not correspond to Dunbar vehicles. 2 days after the heist, Dunbar executives realize $18.9 million has gone missing. Missing security tapes, besides the quick execution, point to an inside job. Investigators give lie detector tests to 130 current and former employees. Only Alan Pace and his girlfriend Tamiko get failing scores. The employee who listened to the tape identified Pace's voice when he called a woman baby. With the 2 failed lie detector tests and the eyewitness accounts, there was still not enough physical evidence to arrest him for the heist. People began to suspect him, yet without concrete evidence they couldn't catch the heist on him. The investigation continues for months. A $250,000 reward is offered by executives a year after the heist for information. Another year goes by, and the crew is still safe until Eugene Hill makes his big mistake. He tries to invest $100,000 of the stolen money in land, still wrapped in the original paper straps. The suspicious realtor contacts the police. The money straps are dated September 11th or 12th, 1997, which confirms them to be from Dunbar Heist. The FBI further discovers that the taillight fragment at the scene only fits U-Haul trucks. They find a rental agreement in the name of Hill. The weakest link, Hill confesses his role and names his partners. Pace and his crew are indicted for robbery, conspiracy, and money laundering. Pace gets 24 years, far more than the others who testified against him. The Dunbar Armored Car Depot heist, close to $19 million stolen, ranks as one of the greatest heists in history. Thanks for watching. What are your impressions of Alan Pace's bold heist? Share them with us in the comments section below. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for many more videos of incredible stories.